Love the
Uh,
little piece that you did, by the way, the other day. I don't know whether everyone has seen it yet. Over at with the guys at Pond Planet, you did a little
yes,
piece about comparisons.
price per
It
kilo.
staggers me that people still aren't getting that. You know, one of the things I absolutely adore Hikari. It's just the best. There is nothing else that can touch it. And when you look at price, again, it is that thing whereby price point, I get you, but what you actually get out of that food for what you are paying for it, there's no comparison. And the way we sell it at the shop is if somebody's never used it before, I say, take a bag, 2K bag, and if you can't see the difference in your koi within 2 weeks, which is bugger all, in 2 weeks, bring me the bag back with what's left in it, and I will give you your money back. As of yet, I've not had anybody bring me a bag back.
It's that locked on. And I think the reason I did that was because it works across, it doesn't matter. It's a fail-proof, foolproof test. No matter what size you're buying, because I did say, look at it on a similar sort of size bag. So, around if it's 2K, around 2K, 3K, whatever's closest. Likewise, when you move up, you get to the bigger bags. The percentage difference seems to be really, really similar. And it also points out, regardless of the food brand that you're using, it's a good way to look at it because the price differences I saw in some brands or noted between like one of the small pots to the bigger pots price per kilo, you can see where if you can stretch to it, just buying them bigger jars is working out so much better in the long run. So it was a good all round test, which is why I wanted to do it, but also then point out, I think the issue is it's the initial cost of the bag with Saki is a fair bit higher because the smallest is a 2 kilo. That's why I just wanted to point it out because this is not me. I'm getting the results. I just want you guys. It's hard to know because there's so much information out there. Everyone's got their own different opinion on what food you should use and this. Sometimes it's because a retail outlet's getting incentives from different suppliers or because of relationships they have with suppliers and stuff they want to push because of margin. I'm not interested in any of that. There's absolutely nothing. You'll notice on here I recommend very, very few things that I will even associate with, to be honest. It's something I've always been keen not to do. And with that stuff. And it's not just then looking at the price, it's the other stuff that we can't monitor as easily. And I promise I'm going to try and do some work on it next year, is then like your conversion ratios, because that would give you a true sort of cost per kilo there, cost per kilo of body weight gained, for example. And that, I believe, is where it would really expose nearly every other food on the market.
That's what I mean. Pound for pound, it is just, it's not just the weight thing. It is that thing of what you are getting for every pound you spend on, Saki. What you get back out of it, or what your koi get back out of it, is just not comparable to any other food. It doesn't exist. No. And there are more expensive foods out there.
Yeah, or some of the other Japanese ones are hitting them marks that are quite difficult to get hold of. But I think the biggest thing here as well is that performance. And on one bit, waste levels has always been a tricky one because fish are going to produce waste, and the way in which people gauge waste output from a food is probably different to what I would have done, and they've probably been a lot touchier. But in order to feed a lot of food, the waste has got to be efficient, because if it's not, you've seen the Hikari pond up here. Was it last week or week before he was here, Martin? I can't remember.
Not last week before,
yeah. So it was at 1.8 kilos a day at that point, and it's still blowing my mind. You've seen it, how good the water was looking.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of filtration on that, but that level you cannot understand. I've used, and when I say this, it doesn't come from me just using one food. Over 20 plus years of doing this now, I've used just about every food going. I've been given stuff to try. I've paid my own money out to try stuff. It's just gone round absolutely everything. So I know the limitations and I know the reasons I stopped using a lot of these foods. And that is a big one. I cannot think of another food where I could feed that quantity into that pond and not have serious pollution issues to deal with.
Yeah.
It's remarkable.
Well,
The best bit is now, I need to measure it, but I'm guessing just from knowing the feeder settings, it's at about 2 kilo a day now. I made that adjustment a few days back, and it's still just looking mint. The whole pond, the fish, everything is just like, give me more. And every time I push that button and hit it up, I'm just like, when is this gonna swear at me?
You're holding on to your wallet then.
Yeah, I did at that point think actually it's just the equivalent of splitting one.
Well,
of them
exactly what you've just been on about. We actually feed all the stock on Saki. Now, we're not bothered about growing anything while it's in the shop. You know what I mean? We're not interested in it growing any bigger while we want technically to get it in, let people see the quality of what it is, and hopefully it sells the next week or the next day or whatever. Yeah. But the reason why we use it in the shop is, number one, it's better for the koi, but number two is the fact that you get less waste.
Yeah.
You know, and there's less muck actually going through the filters, etc.
Which that just tells us everything. Why is there less waste? Because they're consuming more of what's passing through them, you know, because there's not much to come out the other end. And
the ingredients are being used. It's not being bulked up with anything or anything added that the fish is not really using. It's using nearly all of whatever it's taking in that it's using. Yeah. It's just a brilliant food.
This is literally one of those guys, you know, I do keep banging on about it because I just want to get this message. This stuff is a game changer. It'll be a game changer for your pond, your fish performance, everything. If you look at it, food is so important. Cannot stress that enough. We see that across everything. Us as people, how differently, you know, I know when my diet's shit during times of high stress, it sort of all rolls into one, and you start feeling sluggish and shitty, and everything goes to pot compared to when you're sort of on that side of things, putting in your body what you know you should be, fueling up properly, and it all comes back together. And koi are absolutely no different. And it's just one area where if it meant you're buying one less fish a year or something like that, it's a change I would make.
Yeah. A great example that I can think of off the top of my head is your Dainichi pond. Yeah. That I don't want to know, it's none of my business, but there was hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of koi in that pond. Now, you know, if you take one individual fish like Sexy Lip that we know about, which is now been officially called, but that one fish, you know, if it loses its body shape, if it goes gutty, puts fat on in the wrong area or anything like that, can make a massive difference to the value of that koi. So again, why would you use poor quality foods? You yourself want to feed the best in those koi to optimize, obviously, at the end of the day, from a commercial point of view. It's better for the koi, which is always first priority, but from a commercial point of view, it is better for you because it works. It helps you keep the right shape of the koi, the fitness, the skin, everything.
Great.